Welcome back to Elizabeth Plants. I'm Elizabeth, and today we're going to do a plant audit. So you've either already seen it on the channel or it's coming up soon, but I was kind of reorganizing my office, trying to find a way to make things fit better without feeling so chaotic. And it just occurred to me that I have too many plants. I have too many plants that I don't love, to clarify. I have a lot of plants that I love, but I have too many that I don't. And I think that is kind of the result of the pandemic, because I was unable to sell plants that I fell out of love with on Facebook because they didn't want to be face-to-face with people. I just started collecting plants that I didn't love and none of my friends wanted. And I think I need to go through and just decide what I'm doing with a lot of my plants. And I thought I'd take you with me. I'm calling this my plant audit. I'm going to go through every section in my house and just, well, you won't see it all, but every section of my house where there's a plant where I just don't know or don't love, I'm going to decide what I'm going to do with it and take you along with me. So let's go for it. We're going to start here in the office because this is where probably 75% of my plants are. The first thing I should tackle is the greenhouse. So in here are a lot of plants that are either struggling or they are just small, and so I am keeping them in here for humidity or whatever. But I wanted to start by tackling in here. None of these plants I'm really not in love with. Some of these smaller ones I'd like to get a terrarium for, so they're just kind of in here. My Alocasia Sente Variegata, it didn't really do too well. And now it's got a couple of leaves coming out. I'm excited for him to hopefully do good. This is my Bipenifolium. There have been many points where I wanted to just scrap him and buy a new one. Because the cutting I initially received did not handle its move very well. But it's doing a lot of growth, and I'm really excited to kind of look forward with this plant. I wish it was bigger, but I am pretty proud of the work it has done. And I feel pretty much the same about my Taneki right here. It did not do really well, but now all of a sudden, I finally brought it back and is poking out all of these leaves up top. So I'm going to keep him. All of these guys will eventually be repotted. So I've got way too many of the black velvet. They will be repotted with my other black velvet when I get a chance. They'll be combined. And then if we come down here, I honestly think I'm going to sell this guy. I need to figure out what I'm doing with the rest of my terrarium moss. Likely, when I get the next terrarium, I'll want to put some of it in there. And then this stuff, I just need to trash. I honestly just need to trash it. I didn't keep it moist as much as I should have, and it just needs to be thrown away. It's a mess. So this is me actually doing the things I am saying. This is my trash. And this will need to be put in the dishwasher. Next is this little area, which you saw that I moved in the first half of the office organization video, which I think is probably up by now. But this is one of my favorite plants, not going anywhere, keeping him. This is my yellow variegated Syngonium, which I heavily thought about getting rid of several times because it was struggling. All its leaves were green. I just didn't love it. But it has some coloring coming back, so I'm going to give it some time. My pink princess wasn't doing too hot. I underwatered it too much, so I chopped off the top, stuck it in water, and eventually I'd like to stick this in with the original plant and hope that it becomes something I can enjoy. So I'm going to hold out hope for that one. This is my bird of paradise. It's been curly for months now. I've checked it's not overwatered. I've checked it's not underwatered. I don't really know. I think I can bring it back, and I really, really want it. So I'm going to hold out for this one as well. You'll see this tiny little guy, and then this also tiny little guy right here. I think what I need to do with these guys, because they are incredibly difficult to keep watered, is I need to pot them together. I need to pot them together with another like plant or something because it's just not working at this size. So I'm putting these two together because I would like to combine these. And likely at the end of this video, there will be multiple things that I want to combine, and I will make another video of me combining them all later when I have a moment to combine them. So next, let's go over here on my shelf. There's really nothing that I want to change over here. I'm hoping that this palm will come back, but I don't know. And I'm not going to combine any of my aloe. I will likely gift the small aloe when they grow bigger. I am holding out hope that this guy will make it and start growing. His broken base is down here. I don't know if I'll keep him, but for now I am. Over here are all my new cacti, some aloe, my pineapple, some succulents, and I am keeping them. So over on this side of the room are a lot of my very favorite plants. And what the problem is that they are getting overcrowded, neglected, and are not in ideal settings, which is a problem. And so hopefully by either combining or getting rid of some plants, I will be able to make room for these guys not to be so crowded. One of my problems is that I have too many of these guys. He's yellowing a lot, and I'm not really sure why. He wasn't like that the other day. Probably overwatered. But it's just a pothos. I've got one there. I've got one up in the windowsill, and then I've got two in the living room. I'm going to combine them all and get rid of whatever doesn't fit. That's a plan. I'm not going to move them all right now, but that is on the list. Down here, I've got this guy, a Rio of some kind, I believe. I'd love, love, love to repot him out of the semi-hydroponics, possibly combining him with this guy. I know they're not the same, but this guy's tired of being in water. It needs to be potted up. And I think combining these two will actually be really beautiful. This plant needs more light and bigger space. And this one I need to sell. I loved it once. I'm tired of it now. This one needs to be sold. So over here, nothing's leaving me. I love all of these guys. They're wonderful. I need to put more water in my moss and clean him off. And then we get to this guy. He had a huge flowering season, and I lost a ton of leaves as a result of the flowers, and he doesn't really fit in his pot anymore. So I'm thinking what I need to do is combine him with some of my other ripples, and I don't know, because I originally was going to put these guys in a terrarium, but maybe I just combine them all. That might be like a fun option. Let's just browse that idea. What do we think? Could be really cool. Maybe I'll combine them. I'm gonna leave them like that for now and just live with that idea for a little bit. Over here we've got my pearls and jade, and it's struggling, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think it needs brighter light, so I need to make room for it somewhere with brighter light. And same with this guy. He needs brighter light, more humidity, and so I need to make room for him somewhere that offers that. That guy up there I like. However, I need something up there that doesn't require so much water, because this one has died and come back so many times I don't even know what to do with it. Then down here we've got my Mamie, my Florida Ghost, my Pink Splash, and just a pink Syngonium, not sure what type. This needs to be potted in with my other pink Syngoniums in the other room. And then I've got these little cuttings right here. There is some roots. I don't think it's gonna focus on them. Well, maybe. There's some roots in there. They need to be either repotted or like given away somewhere. Come down here. I honestly have way too many Scindapsus just kind of everywhere, and I think I'd like to combine this Pictus with this Silvery Ann. I think that they would look really nice together. And this guy has my Exotica has too large of leaves to combine with them, I think. So I think I'll let this guy continue growing for a while first before I add him in. Then if we go back here, I've got a whole bunch of elephant ear type plants, but they get neglected back here as far as like my personal care. So I'd like to pull them out and find something else to go back here that doesn't require as much attention. Then this Hoya right here, I am selling. I'm selling this Hoya, not in this container, but I don't like Hoya. I have this because I just didn't sell it before the pandemic or give it away to somebody on Facebook before the pandemic, and I needed to put it somewhere. So that is why that is there, and I do not want it there anymore. We come over here. This is kind of my holding place for plants that don't have a home right now. But this guy, honestly, he doesn't bring me joy from the way he looks. However, this is one of my first plants, and it has grown so much since I got it, I can't get rid of it yet. So what I need to do is find a place where this can go, because it is so low maintenance. I might swap it with those elephant ears. We'll see. I'm not getting rid of it yet. And I feel the same way about this one. I've put a lot of work into this one, and so I'm not ready to sell it just yet. I want to see what it looks like with a little bit more growth in its system before I get rid of it. Keeping this, love myself a good pothos, and he's doing really well right here. Keeping this, even though it didn't end up being what I wanted. This was supposed to be a Paraiso Verde. Obviously it's not by the looking at it. This is a new plant, and that is a new plant, keeping it. And this is my Monstera, and it was small when I got it. It's done a lot of growing, and it's got its first fenestration. So I don't know if you can see that. That is its first fenestration, so I'm excited to keep this. I'm on the fence about my ZZ because I love how low maintenance ZZs are. However, my cats love to dig in it, so I can't put it in the low light areas of my home. It's just kind of taking up space. I have a variegated one. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I haven't decided. It's in my maybe possibly group. Keeping those two, this guy and this guy. Getting rid of this one. It was one of my original plants. However, it's just kind of been like this at the top for like a year now, and I'm not loving it. I think it'll do better in somebody else's home. This, I don't know if you're going to be able to see because of how backlit it is, but this came in one of my subscription box. I don't really remember what it is. I don't really care for it. I'm selling it. I didn't mention these two because I'm keeping them. This guy is doing absolutely phenomenal, and this one has grown a couple new leaves since the greenhouse, so keeping it, and it's going to continue to thrive. I can't wait for it to be a big plant. Let's go up. All three of these plants right here obviously are not doing too hot. I think they need to be watered. But they're up here because I don't care. I just don't care about them, and I need to sell them. I cannot put them on the ground in the pile. Well, that one I can. That guy's in the pile. But I can't put these guys in the pile on the ground because my cats will eat them. But I need to just sell them. They're not doing me or anyone any good sitting here dying. Somebody else can love them more than me. This guy I'd actually like to move. Probably put on this shelf. However, it is my Philodendron Micans, and I'm keeping it. You aren't going to be able to see this because of the backlight, but this is my Philodendron Lemon or Lime or whatever. Keeping it. I've got a couple jungle cacti up here, keeping them because they're the only things that'll really survive in this window. And then pothos will be combined with something else and replaced likely in that pot. Then if we pan around the room, keeping my I believe it's a Philodendron upright limelight or something like that. Keeping it. So that is the office. I'm going to now go out into the living room to do some of the other plants. So right now I've got this guy in the bathroom because he's not doing too hot, and I just rinsed him off, and I thought maybe he could benefit from the humidity in here, but I think he's on the list of plants to sell or give away. It just causes me more stress than joy. Now we are in the living room. We are going to start right here. So this is my Arrowhead white butterfly, keeping this big fella. I am on the fence about this one. I've thought about getting rid of it several times. I'll probably consult with my boyfriend before I get rid of this one, but it's on the maybe list for sure. Going to give this one another chance. I combined it with the new one from my subscription box, and he looks a little bit better, so we'll see. I'm going to keep this guy for now while I have space for him out here because he's one that my cats don't bother, and he looks really nice. He's in a really pretty pot. Keeping. Obviously, I'm keeping this guy. He is definitely one of my favorites. And then down here we have my pink Syngonium, which is the plant which the little one from the office will be planted in. And I'm probably, right now it's in like a clear pot in here, but it's definitely root bound and needs to be potted directly into this one. Over here I've already done a combining. This is 4 or 5 different types of Syngonium kind of combined into one pot to save space. Over here to the table, it's kind of a mess, so you'll have to forgive me, but I've got a fiddle fig here, and then I don't know if you noticed I had one behind the elephant ear over here. It's right there. This one I bought, and then this one came in a subscription box. I just repotted this one because it was very root bound, and it's not loving that I repotted it, but I'm hoping that both of these will thrive and I can keep them. This is one of those plants where I really love the idea of it, but it doesn't do much. So this is a maybe I'll get rid of it plant. It just kind of takes up space if I'm being honest. And then right here, I'm keeping this guy because he's one plant that just loves this spot, and I love the idea of having a plant here. So for now, I'm keeping him until something I like more needs this spot. The other end of the table, again, it's pretty lit, so I don't know if you're gonna see, but this is a pothos going to be combined with the other pothos that I have, and this one I'm going to get rid of. I've got too many plants like this. I don't love this patterning enough. I'm not a huge like lime leaf person to begin with, so getting rid of it. So that was my houseplant audit. All of the plants that I told you I was going to combine, I will film myself combining in the future. I don't have time to do it today. Or this weekend. I'm filming this on the weekend, not that that matters to you. But when I have a moment to film it, I will do that. And I will be selling or giving away the plants that I noted. I will be either on Facebook with some required social distancing during the process, or, you know, giving it away to a friend or a family member who wants it. I did not go into the bedroom and show you plants in there because the plants in there I am keeping. I have a Brazil and a regular Philodendron heartleaf hanging from the ceiling. They're huge, they're thriving, I love them. Then on my table I have my Philodendron Rojo, a silver peperomia ripple, and then a like Dracana tree or something like that. I love them all, and for right now they're staying. If I got rid of any of them, it would be the little tree, and I would replace it with something I enjoy more. But for now, I'm keeping it because I like the way it looks in that corner. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. What plants should you get rid of? Which plants would you get rid of if you were in my shoes? Do you need to do a plant audit? I did. Subscribe if you want to see more houseplant content, and I will see you next time.